Guys, you're looking at images from today of our sun. We haven't seen any big X flares lately, but we're seeing a lot of heat energy. And we've also had, I think, a couple filament releases that are sometimes more powerful than an X flare as far as what they throw out, especially in the density of the plasma cloud that we're talking about. Now, at the timestamp, you'll notice it go to the 25th because they're using Universal Standard Time. And that's about 5 hours, I think, ahead of New York on the East Coast at Eastern Standard Time. But anyway, this is what we're seeing. But what we are looking at is a couple of very large sunspots turning this way. But these filament releases, guys, they have had a tremendous impact. And just, I think in the last two videos, we've talked about the impact of the sun on our planet, going from the El Nino to other factors. But right now, we just went to stage 2. Let's look at this. Now, let's look a little further and let's borrow in a little solar wind prediction model as you see at the top here. Now, I'm going to play it forward. You're going to see two bumps. You're going to see radial velocity. That's the speed of the solar wind. This is the density of the clouds that we're seeing. There's a proton density that's measured in centimeters cubed. And the thicker that is, the more powerful impact it has upon not only our atmosphere, but guys, when it strikes our shields, there's a lot of energy transferred into the Earth also. So at the top now, this is plasma density. This is solar wind speed. You're going to see a couple bumps. Now the first one is right here. And guys, again, we're not getting the X flare energy, but something is different. Now this starts on the 22nd, but the first flare, I'm thinking, it's hard to tell because the SDO is not working properly, that these may have been filament releases, and that's long ribbons that you see stretched out for thousands of kilometers across the surface of the sun. And if one of those releases, it's a whip-like motion thrown out. You've probably seen them before on this channel. Anyway, let's play this forward. But again, it starts the 22nd midnight. This is UTC time, so it would have been probably, say, 7 p.m. on the 21st East Coast time. We'll play it forward. You're going to see this one hit here today, and you're going to see a much more powerful one that's coming in a couple of days. And you're going to see the results. I'm telling you, this is a different level. Play it forward. This is the first release. Strikes the Earth today right there. Not very powerful. It doesn't appear, does it? Now, here's the next one coming. Look at that. And that's, again, going to hit on the 28th, probably very close to late on the 27th because of UTC time. We'll let it go through, and I'm going to stop it. But just the results of this bump today, guys, had a tremendous impact on the Ring of Fire. We've had 4 major earthquakes from California all the way around the ring. Now, I'm going to move this forward, and let's do some timing. This one has happened at the top. The green line indicates Earth. The red line indicates this satellite sitting right out here. Now, if we look at the time of impact or when it starts to hit right there, see this rise? Let's move it right in that point. And we'll say 7 on the 28th. That's going to be midnight, the 27th. We're about 6 or 7 hours difference from UTC time. So somewhere, and we'll get more accurate timing as we watch this come up. But again, somewhere late on the 27th, we should see this impact. But guys, this is, according to what we're looking at, the radial velocity would not be as strong, but the impact of the density will be, because if you look right here, it's showing about 500 kilometers per second in the radial velocity, but really this was a low ball model, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. What we're seeing, you've seen it before, the 3 bottom lines. This is the temperature of the solar wind. It increases when the solar wind does. Look, guys, we're seeing peaks at over 700. It was saying 550. And it's been quite a day, guys. And looking at the timing of it, starting with this rise here in both the speed and the purple line again is the kilometers per second. We're over 1 million miles per hour. Then if you look at the red and black lines up here, we're basically looking at the shields. If these lines go, if the black line stays above the center line and the red line is doing what it's doing right now as we speak, that means our shields are open. They're magnetically open. More energy is pouring into the earth. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, when this was striking in its most powerful points, it started here and really started to peak here. And you can see that we were dropping into openings here. Sometimes it will be a very tight-knit match between the shield magnetics, guys. But right now we are, again, 717, I think we saw, kilometers per second. Now let's look at the impact. I'm not going to make it a long video because we need to start paying attention to a few other details. But again, the sun is in control. And guys, the timing is matching what we're seeing on the increase of the timing of the solar wind speed increasing. Check this out now. We've got video from California. They're saying this is a 5.6. It came in at over 6. But guys, there's a lot of videos on YouTube showing everything being thrown off store shelves, cars bouncing, trucks bouncing up and down in the driveway. It looks more like a 6 point whatever, but that's the smallest of the group. Check this out. We got 7.5 in Venezuela. We've got at the same time coming in from Japan a 6.9. Look at that. All the way around the ring of fire. It's kind of a three-way deal. Right there, and right there. And all hitting at the same time. That's telling us, again, this area right here, guys, the videos are pretty unbelievable. If they're saying this is just a 5.7, but then we're seeing high energy motion. And just like we're seeing without the solar or X flares and that tremendous amount of what's called photon energy, we're seeing plasma energy strike our planet. But again, we've got the 7.5 in Venezuela, 7.2 in Venezuela now, 6.9 Japan, 5.6, 11 kilometers north of the Redwood Valley. Let's check this out. And coming down here, you can see we've got multiple, we've got the two quakes here, 7.5, 7.2, all timed with the impact of this solar wind. Again, there was not a warning the way that we would normally see an explosion on the sun and see a solar flare, and I'll point that out. Let me show you. And looking at solar ham, you can see 2 days ago, yesterday, guys, coming into the 25th here, just not a lot of very large solar flares involved. You can see that they're reading the speed of 668. We were seeing 717. Density very high compared. And then here's your difference in the, what they call the NTs, that opening in our shields. You've got a chance of X flares, 10%, the C flares at 99, M flares at 50%. But what we're seeing now is a couple of pretty rough looking sunspots. And this goes back to yesterday, this report on the 23rd. And you can see this sunspot, AR 4478, guys, it has made its rotation and reappeared on the Earth-facing side of the sun once again. Here's your X-ray flux on it, but what you're seeing in these colors here is that indicates different magnetic configurations, which means you've got a high chance of arcing from a positive to a negative. You understand what I'm saying? So that's going to be rotating around, and you've got AR 4475, not as big, but again has dual magnetics involved. And it's becoming more Earth-facing here. But this one will be coming around, it's got about a 12 or 13-day crossing pattern for each side of the sun. So we got that coming up. But right now, let's go back to the earthquake monitor for just a moment. Now, if we look at the map, for you guys that are familiar with this, the strongest section is what's called Puerto Cabello. You got about 209,000 people. That would be the very center. Then spreading out into the orange, San Felipe, Ucamar de la Costa, 221,000 people. And here La Costa is 7,000. Then it comes out further. And so you've got quite a bit of people involved in this area. Now, again, it's onshore, and that's a blessing. Should not have much of a tsunami. But because it was so much or so close to the shore, if I were in this area, I'd be very careful I'd be checking my boats, being very careful along the shore because it's close enough and strong enough to where that motion was pushed out into the ocean. Also, you can see it here going out. Here's Punta Fiji, and this far out right there. So quite a powerful quake, and there were two, all hitting at the Ring of Fire at almost the same time that we saw the strong rise in the solar wind speed. That's how the sun controls us. You know, I mentioned this for years and years and years, and we've started noticing back when 3 flares struck Japan that afternoon and caused the Fukushima disaster. We're tracking 3 strong X flares, as a matter of fact, but these aren't X flares. This is more energetic, and that's what a filament release will do, and things like that, guys. So, again, we're watching it. You watch it. Didn't want to make it long, but this is important. So, what I'm officially issuing a quake watch. Now, for our country, of course, the West Coast, San Andreas, all the way up the West Coast into Canada. We've seen these quakes hit in Alaska, hit Kamchatka, Russia. Seen the whole 9 yards. So we got to watch on this. Remember, the second wave of the sun is not here yet. It's not traveling as fast, but the intensity of it was much stronger. And let's go back and look at it again. This is the second wave that's not here yet, much stronger than the first wave. Now, in plasma density, that's what counts on some of these impacts. It's not as fast as the one coming first, but it's much more powerful. And notice the area that's coming towards our planet is the denser red area. See that? And it's centering our planet. That's why you're seeing this spike. Will we see another round of earthquakes? We could see aftershocks for the next couple of days leading up to this point. Again, BP Earthwatch officially issues a quake watch, especially for the west coast of the United States. But you saw, you guys in Cuba, all the way through South America, through Mexico, in Japan, right? All of those areas, you've got to pay attention to this. This affected a very large area of California, by the way, along that west coast section. But again, as we see this come in the next couple of days, we'll pay attention to it. If the sun's we are into solar maximum, remember? And this one is scheduled to have 2 peaks. Sometimes it will be just one solar max in a solar cycle, about 11.8 years or so, which happens to match the orbit of Jupiter. But what we'll see is possibly stronger quakes simply because of the plasma density. Now, what I'll do in the next video, we're going to get down, see if they update this section of the timing and nail down within a 7-hour window when we will see impacts. That'll be coming up soon, guys. It's a heads up. Be safe.